Well, this is the screen view you'll see when you start GCAD+. For this little lesson, we're going to open a drawing. We'll go File and New, or we could pick that icon there, but we'll go File and Open. And we're going to load a drawing called Lesson 1 Aspen Sown. We'll turn off our warning and we'll say yes, we've saved the drawing. So here we are in the GCAD+ environment, but we're starting with a template. There are some things in the drawing environment. What I'm going to do is trace over the house footprint. You usually start a piece of design work by tracing over the footprint. Our drawing colour, you can see in the properties box on the left, is already set to red. So to draw the lines that represent the house footprint, it's Draw, Line, and if you look down in the command area and also at the cursor intersection point, we're being asked for the first point of the line. You don't have to do this, you can just click into the space if you want, but I want to illustrate that you can type pairs of coordinates. So I've typed 0, 0, and I've done that by selecting numbers from the top row of the keyboard. I haven't used the caps lock and numeric lock values. A lot easier just to use them off the top row. And because ortho's on, you'll notice a red switch down in the status line. That's going to force this line to be horizontal. So I can simply type its dimension, which is 6,000, and that goes directly on top of the existing line. Then I'm going to go 3,000 units in the up direction. So basically you point in the direction you want your line to go in and then just type the value. So at this point it's going to be 7 meters or 7,000 units across. Then we're going to go down 3,000 and enter, and then I'll come across in this direction 8,000 and enter. And to get a little bit of the side wall, just click anywhere you like and then right click and exit. At this point I might take off ortho. Let me use the L shortcut and enter for line and click a line. Can you see with the ortho switch off I can draw in any direction, right click and exit, but if I put ortho back on and repeat the line, and I'm popping up this box by right clicking on my mouse, so left click to select it, I can now only draw either horizontally or vertically, and I can erase those lines by selecting them with what's called a crossing box, starting bottom left and going to the top right, and come down here to erase, and they're gone. The little first exercise then suggests you might want to put a construction line, so that's the third one on this group. And what I'm going to do is bring what's called an OSNAP toolbar across, and I'm going to pick on the midpoint option. What that means is that as I come near this horizontal red line, the cursor latches on to the line, and I can simply click and right click and exit. And what that's done is to put a dotted line or a construction line running from the middle. Let's imagine you want to put a feature tree in this site. And to put the feature tree, we just select the tree, and then we are asked for, not asked for yet, are we? We need to right click and pick Move, or we could pick that from the modified drop down menu. We're being asked for a base point, so I click on it, and because ortho's on, I'm going to move across in the horizontal direction. That's a bit awkward, so I'm going to take ortho off. Now I can put the new tree wherever we want, but I'm going to use this nearest option because that enables me to slide up and down. So if this was a new tree, it would now be centrally placed on the construction line that runs from the middle of that room that is down in this area. So it becomes a focal point, and I'll unselect all. Now magically, because we've been using a landscape view, and I'll just change right now to a white background, so you can see you can change the background very, very easily. I'll now go on to what's called a layout space, and everything that let me put that floating toolbar away, everything that we've been drawing now magically appears inside what's called a floating viewport. So I could notice how the line there doesn't quite reach. So I could double click there and just expand what's going to be shown on the page. I can move that across a little and right click and display, and then double click to get rid of it. And you see that whatever we draw rather magically appears inside this floating view. It's called a floating viewport. In this layout space, we've put the company's logo, address, and other information, and we will put information about the client's address and scale factors and things at a later time. So I hope that helps in showing how you place the footprint of a house into a landscape plan. Well, I've been asked to look and to go a little more slowly through some of those draw steps. So what we'll do is move from our tab which shows our landscape view. This is the view that we will plot back to the so-called model. Now what I'll do is select every one of those lines that were drawn in red and right click and erase. That of course uncovers the black lines that were underneath. So I can pick those in a similar way and then right click and select erase and they disappear. We'll also erase that construction line by selecting it, right clicking and erase. You can also hit the delete key on most keyboards and that will rub it out. And we will move our deciduous tree symbol back where it was when we started. This little point down here, that little cross represents position 0, 0, so we'll erase it. This time I'll hit the delete key on the keyboard. So we're ready to recreate and do it more slowly what we did before. So I'm going to set the drawing colour to magenta now. So let's do what we did before. Let's draw line. Now, as I said, you could click anywhere in the screen area. I've left it white because I think it may stand out a little better. So for our first point, I'm going to type 0, 0 and hit enter. And I'm picking those numbers up from the number keys on the top of the keyboard. So it's anchored at that same point where we remove the point marker. We're being asked for the next point. So I'm going to click ortho on, and that forces the line that I'm about to draw to be horizontal. And the dimension for the first line was 6,000. So I hit enter. Then I pick up my mouse and I move it up in the direction that I want to go in. And I'm looking at these values from a mud map that I've made on site. So I type 3,000. It's 3,000 units, but because I work in the metric environment, I interpret that as 3,000 millimeters, or in other words, 3 meters. Then I hit enter. So 2 lines are in, but the line command keeps running. So I'm now going to head in the direction off to the right, which is angle 0. You may be able to see the length and angle incrementing as we move the cursor. So we're now going to go 7,000 in what is the X direction, or angle 0, and hit enter. Then we come down, we're going to match it up, square it up. We've measured 3,000 for this next one, and hit enter. Continuing on still with the line command, we're going off to the right now as I look at it, 8 meters or 8,000 units, so I hit enter. Then I come down any arbitrary distance, and to pick an arbitrary distance I can just left click with my mouse. Now I want to finish off. At that point I hit the right mouse button and then select with the left button exit. That draws the lines. I don't think we need worry too much about putting that construction line in and repeating the movement of the tree, but I hope that helps go slowly through how you place that house footprint.